Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, we're back at it again with the r/JUSTNOMIL malicious Magda saga. So if you missed parts 1, 2, and 3, I highly suggest you watch those first. I will link them now, as well as in the pinned comment below. Now, this set of stories coming up is still crazy, but definitely lighter than the last video. This episode even has another celebrity appearance from Lewis, patron saint of the garden hose. So let's jump into it, shall we? Magda hired people to stalk me. I got a bunch of messages from people asking for an update. Well, Lewis received a call from one of our cousins asking why a beige Toyota Camry is following me around. I drive by his shop frequently because it's a couple of blocks away from my house. He noticed it a few weeks ago and wanted to make sure, just in case. So he gave Lewis the license plate number and I gave it to our lawyer. Before the lawyer gets back to us, I get a call from one of Magda's caregivers. He tells me that Magda has convinced herself that I'm plotting to murder her and my bills with cartel assassins. She's hired private security at the house and private investigators to follow me around. The private security pats them down, checks their bags, and waves a metal detector wand at them. The investigator comes 3 times a week and brings stacks of photos. I don't know this caregiver personally, but he's a regular customer of my older brother's tattoo parlor, where my son works. He recognized my son from the photos in Magda's house. I am also in the photos, and he put 2 and 2 together. My phone number is still in Magda's phone, which is how he got a hold of me. He said he was concerned for my safety, because it's obvious that this crazy old rich lady has it in for me. Lawyer calls back, confirming beige Toyota belongs to the shady PI company. Lawyer tells them that they are participating in violating a restraining order, and reports it to the police. As expected, the police do nothing because the investigators did not make contact with me. Lawyer is taking care of it. I feel violated in every way possible. I don't feel safe in my home, and I don't feel safe in public. I was willing to stay and remodel the house, but this is some next level of BS. I don't know if I'm truly okay with being so geographically close to my husband's bad family. My daughter stopped playing club soccer because of bullying. A bunch of Magda's friends volunteer for the club, and their granddaughters have shut my daughter out socially. Magda's #1 Dill son, the golden grandson, also plays soccer for this club, and has gleefully led the campaign to shut out my daughter. What hurt her the most was when they called her a race traitor when they heard her speaking Spanish. They sent her really fucked up shit via Snapchat. I'm so upset for her because she has a very promising soccer career ahead of her. She was being scouted, and I worry she won't have the same exposure if she's just playing for her school. In other news, my bills and Magda are suing us. My husband is handling those details. He told me this is a classic rich people thing to do. Fight with family members via lawyers for years. Magda regrets settling with us out of court, so she intends on bleeding us dry with lawyer fees. Joke's on her, because we don't give a crap. We make plenty of money ourselves to support our family. The money and assets obtained from suing Magda is just extra. If we spend all that money on lawyers fighting her, so be it. We could not care less. I really wish dealing with her crazy ended when my dogs mauled her. Musings on my trip to meet Magda. After finding out I was being followed by someone paid by my psychotic mill, I left LA and am holed up at my husband's uncle's ranch. It's so nice to feel like I have privacy, but I miss my husband and big kids. Uncle has assured me that my bills are not allowed on his property. I've been sleeping better here than I have in almost 2 years. Even though I grew up poor, I went to a very expensive private school on scholarship. My sister was the housekeeper for the chair of the Alumni Association, and she somehow talked him into getting me into the school on scholarship. I went to this school and thrived. I made a lot of friends that I'm still close with. I was helping my husband's aunt move some stuff around in their guest house, and there was a framed photo on the wall of Uncle and Phil playing golf at their country club, which triggered a memory. Magda has been to me the entire time I've known her. On the first trip back to California, after my husband and I got together so our families could meet each other, we went to lunch with Magda. As we were waiting for her, one of my friends from fancy private school was coming out of the restaurant, so we stopped to chat. When Magda walks up to us, she has this weird look on her face, interrupts my friend mid-sentence, and demands to know how we know each other. Magda and Phil belong to the same country club as my friend's parents. Friend looks at Magda like she's totally insane, but before she could answer, Magda asks if I was her drug dealer or something. Friend looks genuinely horrified and tells Magda, no, we went to private school together. Magda feigns surprise and asked me how my parents afforded it. Friend rolls her eyes, leans in to hug me, and whispers, run. His mother is awful, and basically ran off to her car. That weekend, their country club was having their annual pancake breakfast fundraiser for the Shriners, and Phil was the event chair. We go because Phil asked very nicely, and my husband wanted to introduce me to his parents' friends. I wore an appropriate outfit. Magda said I looked embarrassing and dowdy. If I had worn something more flattering, I knew she would say I was dressed inappropriately. My friend I saw at lunch was there, with her parents and husband. I'm talking to them, and Magda butts in and saccharine sweet asks them how they know me, using a name nobody calls me. Friend's mom looks confused, and Magda points at me. Oh, daughter and OP went to high school together. Friend's mom turns to me, grabs my hand, and says, you are my favorite of Friend's friends. I know your influence kept Friend out of trouble. If you two were hanging out together, I didn't worry. Thank you again for setting me up with Lewis. My yard has never looked better. Magda's cat butt face could be seen from space. Friend's mom sees one of her friends and takes me away from Magda for introductions. The more people Friend's mom introduces me to, the more angry Magda looks. Friend's mom introduces me to a very well-known Mexican soap opera actor. I see Magda making a beeline to my husband out of the corner of my eye, and she's looking at me while pointing her finger in his face. As soon as I'm alone, Magda grabs my arm and pulls me to a quiet corner. Know your place, she hissed. You are just a temporary comfort. People like us are on another level from people like you. You might have conned your way into private high school, but I will never let you in this family. She squeezed my arm so tightly, it left a bruise. A few days later, we have a family dinner with Magda, Phil, my husband's siblings, and families. I can't remember what we talked about, but it was all a series of little jabs at me. I went outside to get some fresh air. Magda's cook comes outside. She still works for Magda, by the way, and with a low, quiet voice in Spanish, she asks if I love my husband. When I respond yes, she told me to keep him in Florida. If we move back to California, Magda will do everything she can to destroy my life. She then told me that Magda ordered her housekeeper to remove all the valuable things from downstairs because she was worried I would steal from her. She said she could tell I was a good mother to my husband's children, and she could see I was a kind and patient person by the way I responded when Magda repeatedly insulted me. After this trip, Magda decided I was an uneducated, illegal immigrant out for my husband's money. It pisses me off all over again that his brothers just went with it. I've been with my husband for over a decade, and her lifestyle is still totally foreign. I feel like I'm pretending when we go do rich people stuff with this family, like sitting in the first section at Laker games or attending museum fundraisers. I hope they all fuck off and get incurable skin-fold fungal infections. Magda tries to buy our family photos. I've been using the same photographer for family photos for years. He's aware of the Magda-related drama. You can order prints from my photographer's website using an access code. Magda, years ago, had the code because she paid for our wedding photos. A few days ago, she logs in and places a huge order of photos. Specifically, none of the photos with me in them. She ordered nearly 100 prints of my daughter's quinceañera. etc., and the family photos we took for this year's Christmas card. Thankfully, one of his office people called to confirm the address for the photos and offered to personally deliver them because shipping would get expensive for the larger prints. Magda had ordered a poster-sized print of my youngest big kid on the dance floor with the baby. My stomach absolutely turned. I explained that my mother-in-law was a psycho and she needed to have her access revoked. In the spirit of just no mail, I instructed the lovely admin to refund her money and to send an equal amount of prints of me. It was expensive, but it felt good. So worth it. I wonder how she felt when she got the poster-sized print of my face. Magda receives the photos and sends brother-in-law 3 to confront my husband. Bill comes to our house while my husband and Lewis are working on the front yard. They start arguing, and my husband tells him he's going to call the cops. The sole reason I'm posting this is because Lewis got Bill with the garden hose. Like Magda, Lewis hosed Bill to his SUV and got a ton of water in the interior. I unfortunately wasn't able to witness it in person this time, but it was caught on our security cameras. We have a long driveway, so having the hose on full blast for 80 feet feels like a glorious eternity. I'm getting better at dealing with this bullshit. I decided to come back home because I missed my family. We're fixing the house up and moving to Northern California. I decided to resign from my job and focus on freelance work. Magda demands time with my baby. Magda sent us an email with several Instagram photos from the kid's account attached. Magda would like to meet her grandchild for 10 minutes, while supervised by a third party of my choosing. Magda is the baby's grandmother. It is cruel to deprive her of this relationship. Her contact information was formally provided. I forwarded the letter to our lawyer. Don't stop believing, Magda. I honestly can still not believe the audacity of this woman. As far as I'm concerned, this is not a person. I'm convinced she's a skinwalker. Even with it being right around the corner, Magda is a creature too horrifying for Halloween. I'm glad this set of stories was a little lighter though. Lewis, patron saint of the garden hose, making another appearance, and OP sending huge photography prints of her face to Magda just makes my petty heart sing. I'm really glad that OP and her family decided to move. I think that was definitely the right decision. I wish they were moving states, but hopefully they can keep their location undisclosed for as long as possible. And yes, there is more. Part 5, the grand finale, where the beast is finally slain. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want, and I will see you all next time in the grand finale of this Just No Mail saga. Bye!